Last time we worked on the XW, we rejetted the carb, cleaned the plugs, and advanced the timing, and it ran like this. But it still fails the plug, so now it runs like shit. So welcome back to Meatball Garage, and in today's video we're going to do an oil change. We're going to put fresh plugs, we're going to give this thing some new jets in the carby and make it sing and not fail plugs anymore because I'm sick of it running like shit. Let me show you the stuff that we're using. So we're going to use Penrite HPR30, which is a 20W60 for the Clevo, and you need 2 lots of them because she's a thirsty old girl. We're backing it up with a Ryco Z9 filter, a Z9. We've got some NGK 6PB, We've got some NGK BP6FS plugs, which is what's in it at the moment, and if they don't work, we're gonna try a hotter plug, a BP5FS, which are one hotter, it's like one louder in it. And to rejet the carby, we've got this excellent Holley jet kit, which is expensive, but I think this should do the job for us, and you don't want to open this up like that because you'll spill them everywhere and then you're going to have a bad time. Let's start by dropping the oil, and whilst we do that, I can explain to you why I'm doing the things the way I'm doing them and not just taking this to a dyno shop or putting in O2 sensors. I think there's more transmission fluid on the drip mat than there is in the transmission. Rightio. Ugh. Whilst that oil's draining, I'm going to start attacking these plugs. We're just getting them out anyway. So a few people said to me in the comments in the last video, so there's probably 2 main themes. One was just put O2 sensors in, and look, this is a hobby car. If I put O2 sensors or just take it to a dyno, I mean, look, that's still cool and it's still an interesting way to tune your car, but I want to try and do it the old school way. I'm 5 minutes, oh, come on, I'm 5 minutes in. Another thing people are saying why it's failing plugs is maybe the carby's too big. This is a 750 Street HP double pumper. The car's got about 350 to 360 odd horsepower. If you've got a small block Chevy, I think, yeah, it's probably too big, but Clevos, for some reason, read everything about them online, they love a bigger carby. I just think the jets are too big. You could also argue that the distributor's a bit weak, and the weak spark could potentially be contributing to the fouled plugs. And look, this is a Summit Racing Dizzy. It's pretty ordinary, but it cruises fine. And for me, the goals of this car at the moment anyway, is to just get it running and cruising fine, not to foul plugs after 3 drives, so I can take my young bloke in it and have a summer cruise with him. Right, here are the plugs out of the Clevo. As you can see, they are rich. I don't know if this thing focuses or not, but they're incredibly sooty, as you can see there, and that means it's running rich. Now, some folks said you can actually do stuff like read the timing and how well they are timed and whatnot by reading your plugs properly, and I think if you, like on a normal car, there might be like a little line on the strap to tell you whether your timing's on song or not. I think if it's too close that way or too close that way, it's either too advanced or too retarded. But these are all just covered in soot, so I can't read shit. So if anyone makes a comment, learn to read your plugs, what's that tell you? It's rich. What I want it to look like, at least, is sort of like this. This is off my WAS R30 that I did a service on not that long ago. You can see the porcelain, you can see the colour, it's not covered in shit. I mean, albeit these things are electronically fuel injected, so it manages the air spark fuel to perfection. If I can get my car looking like this, I'll be a very happy man. But before we throw these nice fresh NGK BP6FS plugs in, we need to gap them. So I've got this here tool from Super Cheap Auto, and I think I did the last lot to 35 thousandths. We start right at the bottom here. We might just open it up a tiny bit, slide it up. Yep, it's not going any more than that. Perfecto. Do you know what? This is high risk. I've got the oil pan down. If I drop one of these is going to go straight in there. See, I learned from my mistakes. Let's finish the oil change. There you go. Oh, yes. I always put a bit of fresh stuff on the O-ring of the new oil filter so it never goes in dry. Right, hand tight only. Okay, one thing that shits me about putting oil in these things is the teeny tiny little hole you get in all the Cleveland valve covers. So you have to use a bloody funnel like this, stick her in, and then gently tip the oil in. You can't just go all apeshit like I used to be able to do on my General Motors L98. This thing is going to take me 10 years. Just chuck some gloves on because the plugs on this side are a pain in the ass. And I keep slicing my hand on the gaskets. Oh, that's heaps better. So if you've got a pair of these things, oh, that's so much better. I can even get grip on the plug too. Purchase. Ah, come on. You just got to get the angle of the dangle right and it slips right in. Have you got it? Yeah, I think that's in. Oh, thank fuck. Right, that side's done. Leads are on. This side now. Oh, fuck me. Is that recording? You can't, like, I was just about to say, this is the luxury side now. I'm lucky I moved that. But I put it over here and I still dropped it in there. You can't make this shit up. How do you clean up an oil bath bloody... I'll just get a bit of brake clean in there. Let's try that. Oh, gosh. That's not great for your hands either. All right, good as new. Put off. Ruined my gloves, or a glove. All right, that luxury side is in now. And I think I said this in the last video, I really want to make sure I put the boots on nice and snug on the plug wire. Boots on the plug wire, on the plugs, so they click on. So there's good contact and there's no chance of sort of sneaky misfires. Right, carby off. No, let's clean the workspace and then pull the carby off because I don't want to drop those jets in that oil, so let's get rid of that. I'm not going to win any awards for cleanest shop. I just don't want to slip over. I mean, I'm only a danger to myself here, which is that's a good thing. If this was a work site, it'd be shut down yesterday. Danger, danger, danger. Oh, that's heaps better. The greaser for the win. There we are. There we are. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, what's stopping me? Ah, you f***er. I knew it was going to be a bloody fuel spill. Okay. I'm caught on something. Oh, the bloody return spring. There we go. Oh, fuel spills everywhere. Ah, success. I really haven't thought this through. I forgot how much petrol lives in a carby. Oh, my skin's gonna be silky smooth after this. On the plus side, this stuff cleans, that'll clean a floor up beautifully. One thing that I was conscious about, making sure this thing doesn't run rich, was these things here. So these are the idle transfer slots. Apparently they should just be little squares. Now these look like they're open a little bit too much, but I might actually back off the idle speed here. So they're squares, and then they do some readjustments on either the idle circuit or bump the timing up a poof length to get the idle where I want it. I reckon they look pretty good now. Let's take these fuel bowls off. Wrong size socket. Still wrong. How can I stuff that up twice? I'm really out of practice. Hey. Now, is that gonna... It did come out for me. And I keep forgetting. I'm gonna have to watch my old video to work out which way that goes. That was a 71. Yeah, so they're still pretty big. So what do I put in? Now you're supposed to change these jets like 2 at a time, but does that look like 2 sizes down would make a difference? Or do I just go 67s were in there before, but I put a better manifold on and carby. Do I make it 68 or do I go 69? Maybe let's do 68s. 68, okay. Just close that. Put it out of the way for safety. That's all right. Okay, cool. Just work out how that goes back on. There, so it goes like that. That's handy. It's good to know that when you film your own messed ups, only 8,000 people have watched that one. Thank you if you've watched that one. That goes like that. Now, I thought I'll just chuck that on and saw that this was pretty crushed and then it broke, but I'm not unhappy because I've already got another one. They were bound to run out of their on and off life cycle after some point, and that's today. So, hey, no big deal. Too easy. How annoying is that fly? Primary's done. How good is this flexible braided fuel line that that. I'll replace that too. I've got a new one of those, so we'll replace that. But look at this. Don't have to undo any of this. I'm calling it. We're not going to have a fuel leak. I'm calling it now. Oh no, what did we have in here? Why did I think they were smaller? They're 78s. So how far down should I go? So I went from 71 to 68, which is 1, 2, 3, 78, maybe 75. Stuff, I'm putting 74s in because, yeah, I think it's way too fat under full load. It really smokes out the traffic. And if it turns out I've gone too far, I'll just pull the carby off. I don't even have to pull the carby off. I can just pull this part off in the car and put the jets in because I've got them all here. And that's part of the trial and error that is having a hobby car. Now, why is it going in like that? It should be. It should just be going straight in. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I don't know what's going on there, but just clean the threads up in there a little bit. Seems to go in a bit better. Well, it went in way better. So how does that go like that? I think that goes like that. So you're just got to be careful. See on this side here where your accelerator pumps and stuff are. So they're not out of whack. Then have to pull the things apart again. Mint. Let's put this bad boy on now. This back on the car. Marvellous. And lastly, I need to hook up the vac advance. It's just here. This is where I hook my vac advance up to whatever that is. I think that's ported vacuum. Is that ported vacuum? I think it's ported vacuum. Might just do a cheeky quick start just to make sure there's no fuel leaks. I don't think there will be any, but at least that way I know that it sort of everything's sealed up, it starts, it runs, and then tomorrow I can come back and do a proper idle adjustment because I adjusted that idle transfer slot a little bit. Whoa! So it runs, which is good, which I knew it would run. But do we have any fuel coming out anywhere? Suck shit. We don't, which is good. I just want this to idle, so I just turned the high-speed idle screw, or adjusted it so it would open up a little bit more. So I know that it's going to reveal that transfer slot, but I just want it to idle. I don't know, is it the right thing to do? I don't know. Doesn't appear to be smoking out the shed as bad as it used to, which is good. Unless I'm just used to it. I'm immune to the smell of petrol. Bit of condensation in the pipes. Looks a bit fat. So I increased the idle speed because I wanted it to idle, and I want to show you now, because that transfer slot's open, these bloody four corner idle things have no bearing whatsoever on the vacuum or anything. They just do whatever, and it's running fat as so I probably fouled the plugs. Brilliant, well done. Jesus. I don't know why I did that. It was fine. I'll leave it to the morning. I couldn't help myself. I kept dicking around with the idle on this thing last night until I got it just right. Okay, I lied. I didn't go to bed. I kept around with it. Look at it. It's beautiful. Look at this. Beautiful. Idle's about 1,000 RPM, which is what it likes, and it's not spinning out any shit at all. But in doing so, I fouled the plugs. I had to have a look. I was curious. I pulled the plug out, and what do you know? She was fouled up. But it was a fresh foul, so it was easy to clean. I spent some time cleaning them off with my brake clean and degreaser and this wire brush. Popped them back in the car. We put some fresh fuel in it from one of the 1,000 jerry cans my old man seems to keep bringing up every 2 weeks. I know, who knows that many jerry cans? And now we're going to take it for a test drive just to see how the car performs with its new jets, and hopefully it performs well. It doesn't stink out the traffic. We'll come back probably tomorrow, pull the plugs and see how they look, and make a call from there. Yeehaw! Of course! Come on. Okay, she'll crank. nothing's changed to the responsiveness or anything, which is good. Geez, this cruise is good. Like the tiniest amount of throttle input, you just get that little bit of torque from the Clevo. It's marvellous. There's a bit of a difference going from the old 6 pots on the AMG to these things. You've almost got to cross your fingers, toes and everything in between to pull up. Whoa, we're going to stall. She was a little bit hesitant there. There, right there. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe the squirter picks up. Come from second gear, full throttle. We'll only go to like 60. Hey, that feels slower. I don't know, it's been so long since I've driven this thing, I can't tell if it's slower. Just cold before, because it seems bloody perky now. There we go, a little bit of bog. So I wonder if... There it is again. But then it's gone. I don't know. Could be ignition. Ignition under load, doesn't like it, it's a bit shit. Could have failed the plugs again, let's be honest. Shoving it back, but that's because it's probably only got 350 horsepower. It's really good down low, but it feels like it's lacking up top, so maybe I have gone a bit too small a jet in the secondaries maybe. And because we've got a jet kit, we can experiment, we can play with it. The bloody heaters on, no wonder I'm sweating like a shit in here. Oops. So after that drive, I actually took this thing for a few more test drives just to put it through its paces. So I took it out to a super secret testing spot, gave it a boot full, and I can confirm she rides them still, which is really, really good. But putting around, it feels really nice. It's still nice and crisp off light throttle and cruising on light throttle. It's pulls clean when you boot it. There's no concerns or anything like that when you're in full load. At part throttle though, I felt like there was a misfire, or I don't know how to describe it, but I captured it a couple of times during the first test drive. But It's livable, like I can live with it, it's fine. Because I haven't driven this thing consecutively for a long time, I can't tell if I've lost any power at the top end by removing such a large number of jet sizes in the secondaries. And before we look at the plugs, one stupid thing I learned was I've been reading vacuum from the ported vacuum this whole time, which gives you no vacuum at idle. So when you're trying to tune your carby and your idle mixtures and try and get maximum idle, you're not going to get any. Or you are going to get idle vacuum if you crack open the high-speed idle screw. And if you do that, you crack open the bloody transfer spot. And if you do that, guess what? You end up with a rich idle. So that's why my idles were so sputtered all the time. So I found the proper idle slot. I mucked about with it. I got it as good as I could get it. The idle vacuum was something like 12 inches of vacuum, which also means that my power valve might not be the right size. This has got a 4.5 power valve. The Holley thing says it should be halved of your vacuum, but other people say it's different. So I don't know, power valve is going to be left alone for now as well, because it's fine. So without further ado, let's have a look at the spark plugs. Ta-da! Magnificent, if I don't say so myself. So that's one of the old plugs I pulled out just to give you a comparo, and that's what one of the new ones looks like. That is a great improvement. Let's get our broken test light and go through some of the components. So the first thing I'd look at is the timing mark on the ground strap, and I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but where the color change is here on the ground strap is where your timing is. So if it's too far this way, it's too advanced, or if it's sort of on the base ring, and if it's up here near the tip, then it's too retarded. I've read multiple things. People say it's got to be somewhere here in the 90 degree to be good. Other people have said the closer you've got it to the base ring without being on the base ring, that's as far as advanced as you want to get. For me, looking at all of these plugs, they're not all super consistent, but they all have that sort of timing mark about, I don't know, a metric 15th. That one's a bit more inwards. From the base ring, there you go, there's that bit there as well. So I'm calling my timing good enough, not touching the timing. Next is looking at our base ring. So the base ring is this bit here that's supposed to tell you if your jets are lean or rich. It's supposed to have some sort of discoloration on it, and I'm calling that okay because this is from my wife's i30, which is a fuel injected car, and it looks pretty good too. Like it's the same sort of discoloration. Now that's going to have the spot on perfect air fuel ratio, so I'm calling that the same, and I'm calling that good as well. The next thing is looking at the porcelain. So if this porcelain's covered in shit, then it's obviously too rich. If it's also covered in like flecks and stuff like that, metallic bits, then that's a sign of detonation. I don't have detonation in this thing, or it doesn't look like it to me anyway, so I'm happy with that. That means my timing is, again, verified. At the top here, this thing here, the electrode, also looks pretty clean too, so I think if that's blacked out, that's supposed to be idles rich, and I don't think the idle's rich. I reckon that looks pretty good. So if you want to do this properly, you can actually cut these plugs open and read the porcelain all the way down in here. And if you do that, you should see what they call a fuel ring down the bottom here. Now that fuel ring, which is the discoloration of the porcelain from carbon buildup, indicates your performance at wide open throttle. And your goal is to have a very, very small fuel ring. And I'll put some photos up so you can see what I'm talking about. Now I've stared down there. I can't see shit because it's too dark. And remember, I had to clean these because I ballsed up the idle circuit and fouled them like this. So I had to scrub the things clean, so it's not going to give you an indication of what that fuel ring looks like anyway. So using this fuel injected spark plug as a yardstick, I reckon I've done a pretty good job of getting my carburetor tuned okay. Just because I did all that through Googling, I actually showed them to the Clevo King himself, and he said they look mint. So I'm taking Aussie's word that they're looking pretty good. Ultimately, I want to take this thing to a dyno to see how close I got it just by using the old school tuning techniques compared to, you know, sticking it on the rollers and getting the analyzer in there and actually reading the air fuel ratio. I definitely think I tuned in the performance last time by getting the timing right. I think that's a given factor that there's more performance in timing than there is jetting. So these are now going to go back in here, and I'm going to cruise and I'm going to enjoy the car for once. And it's not going to run like shit. It's not going to be a pig after 20 minutes on the road. And it's not going to go through millions of litres of petrol like it used to. I look forward to going down Eastlink and only filling that once instead of twice. So I think we've won. That's a good result. If you want to stay up to date with what's happening in this shed, just the little jobs and other bullshit, I've got my Instagram. You can follow that. Otherwise, thanks for staying around. and I'll see you in another video. Ciao. Oh, nice little bloody AMG videos though, they're struggling. Look, I drive it, I give it heat, it's 200 degrees, not even. Sounds grouse, go watch that one.